Welcome to another Salmon in the Classroom video. Today is Wednesday, January 22nd. I have had cabin fever, but the good news is I can come in and check on our salmon even when we have some snow days. Since we have had our first snow day on Monday, our salmon have grown to a next food stage. So we were feeding them size 1 pellets before, and now we're feeding them size 2. That's basically the change from like really fine coffee grounds type consistency to maybe just a little bit less finely ground. So one of the things that people often ask are how old are the salmon and how old do they get? So this current life stage, our salmon are about 2 months old. We got them as eggs back in, November 14th now. And so they hatched shortly after. They will grow to about 3 to 5 years old when they come back to spawn in the rivers connected to Lake Michigan. And the size that they get to is about 18 pounds would be a rough average, but they can get much bigger and some come back much smaller. A lot of it depends on the health of the fish, but also how long they've been able to live in the lake and eat all the good things that are in Lake Michigan, specifically alewives, but that's another lesson. So I just want to go over a couple of questions that are often asked in my classroom when different classrooms come to visit, and also kind of give you an idea of questions that you could possibly ask in response to the video. So one of my number one questions I get is the question about how old salmon get before they come back up to the river to spawn, and also how big they get. But oftentimes students will ask, well, how long are they? Or how long are they right now? So right now, these fish are in the par stage, which is their third life stage that we see them in. We see them in the eyed egg stage, we see them in the sac fry stage, and now we see them in the par stage. And you'll see in a video here that the par stage is marked by when fish have par marks on them. And marks are when the fish has got these small stripes, and those stripes are used for camouflage in the wild. Because right now, like our fish here, the fish that are living in the wild are in rivers. The most common rivers you might drive by where there are salmon living in right now at this life stage might be the Pawpaw River, which is a local river that is connected eventually to Lake Michigan. And although our fish are probably a little further along than those wild fish in the Pawpaw River, because our water temperature is about 45.5 degrees, which is a little bit warmer than it is right now in the wild. So they're eating more. And they're growing faster. And also, to go along with that, we have artificial lighting where we've had a lot of clouds in the wild right now, the last couple of weeks, but in here they see probably a little bit more artificial light, and they are fed thanks to my automatic feeder, okay? And that automatic feeder, I have to thank some of my third graders from last year. They bought me that as a gift, as a teacher gift. So shout out to those, you know who you are. I don't have to come in so often to feed them, which is really nice. But anyway, when we're talking about the par life stage, the next life stage that they're going to be in is the smolt life stage. And that life stage, they will actually swim out to Lake Michigan to begin their lives out there. But again, probably getting further along in the lesson than we need to. So right now, as far as food in the wild, okay, the salmon par that are in the wild right now are eating really small macroinvertebrates, which is a fancy word for water insects or waterborne insects. Insects at this stage, they're probably eating midges, which are pretty similar to like a really small mosquito or a black fly about that big. And those actually are insects that start their life in the wild, and in the water they're about that big. So perfect size for fish like these to eat. So they start eating those, and then as they get bigger, right now they are about 1.5 to 2 inches long. In the wild, they're going to grow and grow and grow till they're 30 plus inches long, which might be just as tall as some of you, especially our younger ones watching this. And like I said, about 18 pounds, 15 to 18 pounds would be a great healthy weight for a fish coming back up the river to spawn. So right now we have 132 salmon par left in our tank, which is a really good ratio. We started with 150 eggs. And so, so far this year, if I had to compare to last year, the fish are much healthier, they're much larger already, and they've hatched earlier, which means we're looking forward to release date, hopefully the end of April. And if you were familiar with our videos from last year, our Chinook salmon are going to be released in a waterway that does connect to Lake Michigan, and that will be the Paw Paw River. Last year they were in Watervliet, and hopefully we're going to let them go in the same place this year. So looking toward the end of April, a lot of factors come into play, but so far so good as far as the health of the fish and how big they are. If you have any questions, I will answer 3 questions that show up either on YouTube or on Class Dojo if you're connected, and I'd be happy to answer those questions back in writing. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, think salmon.